The Loire Valley vineyards cover some 62,000 hectares, 85% of which produce Appellation Contrôlé wine. The Loire is divided into 4 main regions: Nantes, Anjou-Saumur, Tours, and the Central Loire. Baton and Guestier produces an Appellation Contrôlé wine in each region: Muscadet, Rosé d'Anjou, Vouvray, and Sancerre. Our wines are made both in private wine growers' cellars as well as at our own facility in La Chapelle-le-Lin. We also benefit of the services of a winemaking consultant.
I've worked for Baton et Guestier since the 2002 vintage. Baton et Guestier is a very well-known name in Vouvray because at one time this Bordeaux-based firm sold more wine from the appellation than anyone else. Vouvray has 2,250 hectares of vines in 9 communes. The appellation is unusual in that vines are planted in small valleys as well as on slopes and plateaux. Vouvray is made entirely with one grape variety, Chenin Blanc, which is also called Pinot de la Loire here. My role with Baton et Guestier begins with a vineyard. That is very important to me. The quality of a vintage is determined to a great extent by spring pruning. I'm out in the vineyard at vintage time with wine growers to decide when is the best time to pick each plot at just the right degree of ripeness. I prefer to blend wines relatively early to have the greatest possible latitude. Baton et Guestier's stringent standards make the work demanding but fascinating. Our loyalty to quality producers and efforts to gain wine growers' trust have created a win-win relationship. We have worked with some 30 wine growers for the past 10 years. Each one understands the Baton et Guestier philosophy and knows what is expected of them. Our vineyard has been in the family since the 1950s. My grandparents came to live in Noisy, a village in the Vouvray appellation, where they dug most of the cellars out of solid rock to store wine. We have been wine growers from father to son since 1760. We have worked with Baton et Guestier for the past 30 years. We share a relationship based on loyalty and trust. We have one of the best terroirs in the appellation, with flinty soil facing due south, where most of Baton et Guestier's Vouvray comes from. We have worked with Baton et Guestier for the past 25 years. This began with my father and has continued faithfully ever since. We are in the Loire Valley, at one of Baton et Guestier's winemaking facilities that produces Rosé d'Anjou. 40 wine growers have agreed to accept our specifications and deliver great must to us at vintage time. Rosé d'Anjou is a blend of 2 grape varieties, Gamay and Gros Loup. Gros Loup produces very fruity, vivacious wine. This is blended with Gamay, which adds an extra layer of fruitiness. The blend of these 2 varieties is responsible for Rosé d'Anjou's freshness and complexity. All the vats are temperature controlled. Fermentation takes place at 14 to 15 degrees in order to retain aromatic freshness. After fermentation, we seek the best possible balance between sugar, 10 to 20 grams per litre, and acidity to produce the roundness and complexity typical of Rosé d'Anjou. Our vocation is to offer all wine lovers the opportunity to discover the best French wines.